Опишіть українців 3 словами.
I would say winners, resourceful, and I would say resilient.
Якщо б ви були журналістом, то про що б ви писали?
I've always been interested in politics.
Про що ви мріяли, коли були у старшій школі?
I always wanted to be a golf player.
А чи надихають вас українці?
So I'm every day inspired by Ukrainians. I think they have an incredible resilience.
Яка ваша улюблена українська страва?
Borzna is my favorite.
Якщо б ви не були представником UNDP, то чим б ви займалися?
Or maybe a psychologist.
My name is Daryna.
Костянтин.
I'm Daryna. I'm from Kharkiv. Have you ever been in Kharkiv?
I've been in Kharkiv many times.
Okay, I think it will be easy.
Okay, good.
The interview will be in Ukrainian, if you don't mind.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's do the question.
Okay.
Україна – перша країна, у якій ви стали представником UNDP. Чи не боялися ви брати на себе таку відповідальність?
Yeah, so Ukraine was my first position for the Resident Representative, but I've always worked in leadership position and different roles in different countries all over the world. And I was lucky to visit Ukraine before, so had seen the situation even before 2014. So in spite of the challenges that people are currently faced with, I knew there is a vibrant energy in the people and in the country. I always knew I wanted to help people, but I started first working for NGOs and civil society organizations, and then later on only joined the UN.
У яких країнах ви побували перед Україною?
I've visited over 108 countries in the world. So I've lived and worked also in different countries. I started living in America, but then I worked in Bosnia, Herzegovina. Then I went down and lived for about 3 years in Zimbabwe. That's in Africa. Then I moved up and we lived in Uzbekistan. I had a family by then, my wife and 2 children. And then I lived in Cyprus as well for about 4 years. And then we moved to India for a while, which was very interesting. And then we went to Bangkok, which was in Thailand. And now I'm living in Ukraine. My son always says that when he grew up, he was in 7 different schools in 5 different countries.
Чи надихають вас українці?
So I'm every day inspired by Ukrainians. Every day I think they have an incredible resilience and they are determined to also overcome the challenges that they face. We work in very many places throughout Ukraine in communities, including in Kherson and Kharkiv and Chernihiv, where all of you are from. And whether it's people who work for the ambulance service, people who work for the police, people who work for the energy sector, engineers, everybody is determined to do their little bit to also help Ukraine. And that's really what's inspirational.
Розкажіть, чим діяльність UNDP відрізняється від роботи інших організацій?
The one is that we have a very wide mandate and cover a lot of areas, including working from youth, working on energy, working on demining, working on economic development. We also work through the government and through national organizations, including civil society organizations and youth institutes. So our role is not to set up something outside of what is the national structures and national institutions. It's help to work through them to also make them more effective and help them also support the people.
Як ваша сім'я та друзі реагували на ваше рішення їхати в Україну під час війни?
I had 2 groups of people in my life that responded differently. Some would say, why do you go to Ukraine? There's a war and you might get injured or hurt. But the majority of the people that I actually work with and that I've been fortunate to both associate with, including my family, were very encouraging for me and were saying it's such a good thing to do and help the people of Ukraine. My son, for instance, wants to also work in development. And he said that this was the best thing for him to have his father serve in Ukraine, because that's really where the biggest challenge currently in the world is.
Якби вам треба було описати роботу UNDP в Україні одним реченням і 3 словами, як ви це описали?
I would say we serve, we help, and we support people. We're here to help, and serve the people in difficulties and also support them through challenges and opportunities to overcome.
З чим можна порівняти лідерство такої великої команди?
So a good example would be, it's like a duck or a swan on the water. So when you look at the top and you see a duck swim, it looks very calm and they're very still. But underneath the water, there's a lot of kicking and a lot of feet going back and forth. And that's a little bit how it is working in an organization like UNDP. There's sometimes a quietness on top of the water, but people work and do a huge amount of different busy work underneath the water, which is helping people, which is very important. But the opportunities for us is also to work with young people like yourself involved in this project, who are really the future of Ukraine and really helping to also recover the country and rebuild the country. And that's really the best part of my job.
Якщо б ви не були представником UNDP, то чим б ви займалися?
I knew I always wanted to work with people and help people where possible. My mother, for instance, was a social worker. And I think if I wasn't maybe working for the UN, I would also be interested in being either a social worker or maybe a psychologist.
Якщо б ви були журналістом, то про що б ви писали?
I've always been interested in politics and always interested also in areas which I studied in peace and conflict. So I was always interested in what are some of the reasons why people are fighting and in a war and what can be done to help people also get out of that situation. And I think that's why I'm also in Ukraine, because it's an area that absolutely is so important for the rest of the world.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your answers.
Thank you very much.
I'm really grateful for the interview with you. Thank you, Jaco.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Kosta. Thank you very much. It's nice and very good interview.